This is the plaintiff, Edwin Ortiz. He says he purchased a 2008 BMW with 98,000 miles on it from the defendant. And when he brought it to the DMV to register it, they ran the VIN number, and it came up having 236,000 miles on it. He was royally ripped off by this snake of a defendant. He wants his $8,000 returned from the scoundrel and is suing for just that today in this court. This is the defendant, John Mairani. He says he's been selling cars for 38 years, and he sold the plaintiff this car as a TMU. TMU stands for True Mileage Unknown. And now the guy's suing for something he already knew? Come on, this guy's out of his mind. He made death threats against him, and he owes nothing. He's accused of rolling back the mileage. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,457 for the balance owed on the car.
All parties, please raise your right hand. You seated? Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, you bought a used car from I Buy Cars, owned by Mr. Mairani?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
How long ago did you buy that car?
I bought the car in 12/16 of 2017.
Okay. And at the time that you bought the car, you were under the impression that the mileage on the car was what, 98,000 something?
To be exactly, 98,109.
What did you just read?
A copy of the title.
Okay, let me see the title. Now, this is not the title he gave to you that day, is it?
Actually, no.
This is the one that comes back to you after you.
Exactly.
Does anybody have a copy of the title he gave to you that day?
No, actually, that gets mailed to you.
That gets mailed to you because you don't even get it because you're a dealer, so you take care of that whole routine. Okay. Now, one fine day, according to you, your son moves to New Jersey?
He moved to Jersey.
So it's going to get registered, and the car is in his name, and it's going to get registered in New Jersey.
It had a 2-year registration. We waited till the 2 years was up. Then we went to Motor Vehicles in Jersey. I opened the title in front of them, and it said exactly what it's saying there. 98, it says not actual miles. The lady turned around and said it had 206,000 miles on that vehicle. I was like, okay. I called a friend of mine from Brooklyn that works for the police task of robbery cars. He ran the VIN numbers to me. He told me that car has 236,000 miles, which I have it right here. Which is considered fraud, and it's a federal offense. Never told me that the car had that. Never. And he knew that the car had that miles.
How did he know?
Because he's a dealer. He goes through his vehicle. He has to have the Carfax he does for himself.
One would think that when you got possession of this car, who did you get possession of the car from?
We bought it from a gentleman by the name of...
Okay, so you bought it from, let's just say private party. So you bought it from a private party. One would think that someone in your business would do a Carfax, right?
It's an open title.
Excuse you.
Sorry.
One would think that somebody in your business would do a Carfax. Had you done a Carfax report, you would see that...
Your Honor, may I
Just a second. Do you have an off button? Press it. He buys the car on December 16th of 2017. What's BMW of Brooklyn? Did you do any business with BMW of Brooklyn?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Did you service the car with BMW of Brooklyn?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
What day did you buy the car?
I bought the car on 12/10/17.
Yeah. So on 12/5, whoever previously owned it goes to BMW of Brooklyn, gets a vehicle service fluid checks, and it's 239,027 miles. And then on December 19th, 3 days after he buys it, because he buys it on the 16th, he takes it in to be inspected, and it's 98 magically. And it's 98 when you sell it to him. How is it that it has a reading of 239,000 on December 5th, and then when you sell it, it has a reading of 98?
The day we purchased it with 98,100 and change, which is like 105, I believe. The day this gentleman bought it, or...
Says who? You purchased it and it already says that. Prove to me that it said that when you...
I'm going to prove it to you right now, Your Honor. I have a receipt that a replaced cluster was put in the car. We have a replaced cluster receipt that I got from the owner that we purchased it from. And once further review, I reviewed the case myself, and Anthony Torres purchased a car on 12/19, not this according to the documents, because I didn't sell him the car. On 12/19, Anthony Torres bought it in the state of New York with a retail certificate MV50, and the day he bought it, it was acknowledged that not actual miles, right on the receipt.
Let me see what you've got, because I'm looking at, you know that your bill of sale doesn't say not actual mileage,
Well,
right? Yes or no? Yes or no?
It
Your
doesn't
bill of
say-
sale
I
does
didn't-
not say.
Your Honor, I
true-
didn't fill this out.
Whoa. Your bill of sale
Yes, Your Honor.
does not say.
It says 98,000 miles.
Right, specifically.
Yes,
It doesn't
yes, Your
say
Honor.
true mileage unknown.
Yes, Your
The
Honor.
bill of sale. All right.
Yes.
Now, according to you, the car, that's the day of the bill of sale, and the day of the delivery of the car is on the 19th?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the document that you are handing my bailiff right now?
That's called a retail certificate of sale, and it was signed
Is
by...
this something that the purchaser signs?
Yes, ma'am.
Anthony Torres is who to you? That's your son?
Anthony Torres is my son.
Okay. So he's the one signing the retail certificate of sale. And what's marked, there's 3 things that can be marked. 1 is I certify its actual mileage. 2 is I certify the odometer reading exceeds mechanical limits. I can't imagine anybody signing that anymore. And the 3rd box is I certify that to the best of my knowledge, this odometer reading is not the actual mileage. Warning in big bold letters, odometer discrepancy. Your son signed this when he picked up the car. Did you know that?
Actually, I'm not too sure. Can I see it?
Yes,
'Cause I never-
absolutely.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, I believe they get all the receipts as well from
I
the
presume,
salesperson when
because
they
that's
get
a
it.
carbon, so I
Yes.
presume there's a copy for them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I still want to know who rolled the mileage back, because somebody rolled the mileage back.
When we purchase cars wholesale, a lot of cars come into the establishment.
What
and
establishment? What's the
So I
establishment?
buy cars through wholesale people. We don't run Carfax on cars when they come in. They
Why
come in
not?
quick and we wholesale them quick. And this gentleman was...
Why don't you run Carfaxes? That's quick, too. That takes like 4
On a 10-year-old
seconds.
car, in the state of New York, on a 10-year-old car, all the cars come back...
The sale was in 2017. It's
Correct.
a 2008.
It was 11. It was 9 years old. Correct.
Right.
In the state of New York, on older cars, we don't
On
really bother.
10-year-old or older. Don't be
Correct.
messy.
No, I'm
Don't
not-
give me room to argue with you. The last
Yes.
thing you want to give me is wiggle room.
Yes, Your
Don't give
Honor.
me wiggle, because when you do, it makes it feel like you don't respect my intelligence.
I do.
So this isn't a 10-year-old car, so the whole 10-year-old car stuff, let's put on a shelf.
We purchase a lot of cars, and a lot of cars come in wholesale.
You had said that there was something that got fixed right before you bought
Yes,
it. That I want to see.
A replaced odometer, a receipt for a cluster. I had it
A
in my
replaced
paper.
odometer?
A cluster, it's called.
Is that has something to do with the odometer?
Yeah, that's the cluster is where it says like engine light, oil light, all that information, and that's where the mileage is.
Why didn't you file this lawsuit when you got your title and the title said not actual mileage?
We just realized now. I didn't open
Yeah,
the
but you
title.
got the title and you.
But
well,
I
then your
didn't
son
open
did.
because we didn't have to. We had the vehicle.
You got
when
the
we-
title and it says not actual mileage. There's a document your son signed saying
Here it is,
we're
Your
not
Honor, I
sure
have
it's
it.
the
I'm
actual
sorry.
mileage.
Here you go. Here you go.
There's another document that you handed into evidence. What is this? Do you have the original of that one?
No, I don't, because it wasn't me. I didn't purchase it. The person we bought it from faxed us that.
Somebody rolled this back, right?
I don't know. When you
Well, we
change a
do know.
cluster, it's not, according to the paper by True Mileage on your own, the cluster was changed.
Right.
So that's proof that the cluster was changed and a new one was put in. Not by us, by the people we bought it from.
That's
Yes.
not my question. My question is somebody rolled it back.
I don't know what instance it is, but somebody changed the cluster.
How can we not know that?
Yeah, but that's the
Don't
receipt
yell at
saying
me.
it.
Don't yell at me. I know
I'm
it's just.
sorry,
I know it's just the way you are, but you
Yes,
got it.
yes, Your Honor.
Dial it back just a little bit. All right. And how do I know that? Because I'm surrounded by people like that.
Well,
All
I've been
right.
here
If we
before.
look at the Carfax, we see
Yes.
over and over that this mileage is 200 when it's brought into this BMW place and that way it's 200. So we know that when someone says miles in 98, they are lying, right?
Well,
Or it was rolled back by somebody before then, right? It's
Correct.
got to have been rolled back.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's no question it was rolled back.
Yes, Your Honor. And that's why we have the receipt for the cluster, and that's why it said TMU on the odometer statement.
All right. You have a counterclaim against him for the balance owed on the car.
Well, if we could get into that, over about a year and a half ago, the Bureau of Consumer Protection notified us saying that he threatened us that we didn't give him the lien release on the car. So at the time, I looked into it, and you have a copy of that, the response form. We told him that the gentleman owes X amount of dollars, and we would love to give it to him. Matter of fact, I think I remember one day he called, and it has nothing to do with this other stuff about the miles. I believe this is all fabricated now.
No, it's not fabricated.
No, but what I'm getting at is the original response form was he was trying to get the lien release from us, and I said, you know what, you owe X, bring Y, and let's end it. Just come in, no problem. I'd love to help you. He didn't do it. We sent the response form back.
What was X and what was Y? You sent the response.
He owed $14.54. I says, bring in $700. Let's end this and move on. I just want the money. I'll give you the title.
Who'd you say that to?
To this gentleman.
Because he called you after,
Yes.
or
Yes.
you called him after getting the Attorney General's
The young lady that collected money from him variously, she asked him, says, you have a balance. Would you mind squaring up? He came in with. He was supposed to bring in 300, he'd bring in 100, bring in 200. We have all the receipts that we gave to you. When I reviewed it more, he thought he owed X. He didn't. He owed more. When I looked at it, he said he made 9 payments. He didn't. He made 11. I saw that. I knew that, and I saw it.
So how much does he owe, according to you?
$14.54. So when we found out about this, the next thing I know, they dropped the ball. No problem. Move on. Case dismissed. And then all of a sudden, I get a title in the mail from New Jersey. I said, why would I get this? I didn't even know what it was. Then the next day, I got the lawsuit in the mail. And then I says, oh, he tried to circumvent me and go to New Jersey and register the car with 208,000 miles. And then this story was fabricated.
Wait, stop. He tried to register the car in New Jersey.
In the state of New Jersey.
With 200 and...
I don't know what it was. I don't know,
Okay.
and that's not up to me. I don't.
And how is that circumventing you to register the car in New Jersey?
Because it still has a lien on it, and we're the lien holder, so the title was mailed to us.
Right, but that's not circumventing. How do you suppose
He never paid the balance.
Listen to me.
Yes.
How is that nefarious? If someone moves, they're going to register it in it's the law. They have to register it in the new car.
Yes, I agree with that.
So then how is it nefariously trying to circumvent you to try to register it? He obviously there's no hiding of who the lien holder is because you got it in the mail as the lien holder.
So we got it in. Next thing you know, we got the lawsuit, and then that's why I'm here today with you.
Okay. Now, do you owe money on this car?
I owe $420 on that car.
You're going to have to prove that.
Okay.
Show me the...
I can't prove it.
How are you? Why are you asking for a lien release if you stop? If you know that you owe at least $400.
It's not even like that, like he's saying.
Listen to me. Listen to my question, not what he said. Listen to my question. If you know you owe money, why are you trying to get a lien release?
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says the defendant lied to him about the mileage on the car that he bought from him. The defendant says the plaintiff is the scammer trying to get a lien taken off the car when he still owes money on it. Is the mileage something that the plaintiff should have known about before the purchase? Let's go back into the courtroom.
I wasn't trying to get a lien release.
Okay, stop. Show me the Attorney General complaint where he's trying to get a lien release. Hand it to my bailiff. Thank you. What are your payments, $300?
They were $300 a month.
Okay, where did you get that he was trying to get a lien release? I just read his entire complaint. He didn't say that.
He called.
His complaint was that you have nefarious business practices, that he doesn't owe 18, he owes maybe 1, but he has no clue because he doesn't keep his proof of payments.
Well, I have all the proof of payments. I have them all.
How do you think you're going to win that if you don't have the proof of payment?
I had all the receipts. I lost them.
Okay, but why are you? But who's that on?
Okay.
And what do you think the effect of that is?
Can I explain to you?
Can you hear me though?
Yes.
Right. That's a problem for you. You understand that, right? The whole idea behind court is proof. If you want to prove to me that all you owe is $300, I welcome the opportunity to hear your proof. But you have to prove it that all you owe is $300.
But the only one that can prove it is him.
Oh, no, sweetheart. Let me tell you how it works at my house. When I want to prove what I owe, I prove what I owe. You see? Because I'm the one who has the checks to prove what I've paid and what is left over. And then I look the person who's lying to my face and I say, you see, I just did that with my pool guy,
There you go.
who said to me that I owed 2 payments. I said, that doesn't sound like a thing I'd do. And I took 10 minutes to go through my banking records, and I photocopied, screenshot, every single one of them. And I sent them to him. I said, oh, nay, you owe me 2 months. Okay? So, yeah, that's how it's done. But, you know, if you're not that kind of person, you know, what are you getting angry about? This is like,
Because he's
you created
lying.
the situation,
First,
though.
he states that he wasn't there
So
when
if
I
you're
bought the
not
car.
that
He was
kind of
there.
person, that's
Here goes
fine.
his signature. He wrote this. He wrote all this. He claims
stop
he wasn't
yelling
there.
and listen to me. If you're not the kind of guy to keep your proof, that's fine. Then you go to
It's
the
not
bank.
about proof, ma'am. It's
Yeah,
not
it is
about proof.
Oh,
It's
no.
about him being a thief.
Let me
That's what
explain
it's
something.
about.
It's always
Should've took care
about
of this
proof.
my way.
Your Honor?
It is always about proof. It is always about
In my world?
proof.
No.
Your son signed a document acknowledging that
And
it
he
may
should
not
have
be
told us about the cluster, which he never did. Okay? It's against the law. According to motor vehicles, he should have amended that title, meaning that the actual mile should have been put in there by him, knowing that the cluster was changed. Simple as that. It's against the law. It's a federal case. Matter of fact,
it's a federal case. Why are you here? Why don't you go take it to the feds? Okay,
against
good.
him.
All right, all right.
Your
So
Honor-
if it's really a federal case, that'll happen.
Excuse me. He said, a matter of fact, I pulled the files more. He said he paid 9 times, and he has, that's what he gave to Consumer Bureau, and I pulled the file. He didn't pay 9 times. He paid 11.
And you told
and
that-
I acknowledged it to him.
Right.
I even acknowledged it. And a matter of fact, Your Honor, the vehicle is on repo
Let me
because he
see-
didn't pay. And I says, don't even bother. I says, I
I-
know him from the place.
Can I see
Yes.
you said you have receipts for every time that,
Yes,
let
I
me
do.
see that.
This is his receipts, and these are mine. Those are receipts that he got. I saved them.
There's only one thing that's bothering me.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's the concept that you're in the business of buying and selling cars, and that you would not have a Carfax before you buy a car in order to resell it at any point in time that would tell you about the discrepancy in the miles. And I think that that is resolved by the simple act of you putting, I can't guarantee these miles.
Every case is different. Back then, as far as I believe, back then, Carfax was a lot of money. Now it's like a common thing. Nobody even knew about it back then, kind of. So
In
it
2017?
Yeah,
Yeah, people knew about it in 2017.
No, I'm talking.
I'm
yeah,
not
you're
talking
right.
about.
No, you're
you
right.
got to be
You're
more
right.
careful and more
I'm
precise.
doing-
I am
you know
an
what it is?
extremely precise
I'm doing
woman.
this a long time, and like
yeah,
10 years
I know.
ago.
But in
Now it's
2017,
common.
people were
now
doing
it's
it.
extremely common. As a matter of fact, I have it on my
In
phone today.
2017, it's extremely
I
common.
will not buy a car unless I run a Carfax
Yeah, you
today.
Yeah, but you-
because of these incidents.
Yeah,
But I will
that's
not
something you
even
should have
yell
done in
through it.
2017 too, though. You know?
Yes.
You know, I sit there and I ask myself, how is it that a dealer doesn't run a Carfax on a car that they're buying? But the real question, too, is how is it you guys don't? Because Carfax is just as available to everybody. It's not that it was uncommon in 2017. It was very common. Anybody could just go on and do it. The fact that you guys didn't, for you to be able to collect on that and make money, they would have to owe you a duty to have done that, and it has to have been breached by them. There's no law that says they have to. I would think you'd want to, because otherwise, you know, you must have gotten a really good deal there that you didn't even bother. You had the car for 5 days, you got rid of it, you turn over. You know, like I sort of understand it more from his, that they didn't, even though I'm always skeptical, forgive me, of
Yeah, I understand.
used car dealerships
Yeah,
or,
we all
or
think
new
black
car
eye.
dealerships, for that matter. In fact, maybe even more. You know, still, that's just a tool. It's a public tool available to everybody. And the fact that, and maybe you, in your mind, well, it doesn't matter because he signs a document, the son signs a document that says total mileage unknown. I think the one thing that you guys did wrong was on the bill of sale, you didn't mention total mileage unknown.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. He didn't put the right miles in totally, but he had a 30-day warranty.
He didn't put in total miles unknown on the bill of sale.
What's amazing is, though, like, it took 3 years to figure this. I mean,
well, no,
yeah.
and that's the problem, is that in 3 days, it should have been figured out because of the document that your son signed. So on your lawsuit against him, I find in their favor. Now we've got the counterclaim. And the counterclaim is that I don't see proof of you having the car paid off. and you owe money on the car. So what exactly, I presume that after all you've paid for the car that you want to have the title on the car, right?
I know what I owe on the car.
Yeah.
And
what's your
his
point?
mechanic, the guy that worked for him, I knew him, okay? He was supposed to have certain things fixed on the car, and he was there at all times. So he's sitting here lying, stating that he didn't know. Yes, because I had a credit in the place for $1,300 on maximum that I put down first. But Mr. Honest Man over here.
And that's on the receipt, Your Honor, if you look.
It is on the receipt.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, what I'm saying is that January, February, March, if that's where the payments that he's talking about, because the vehicle.
That's not how he's doing it. What he's doing is he's looking at the payments.
Exactly, but
and
that's
he's
where
looking
the
at
payments.
receipts.
That's
Just
where
a
the
minute,
payments
sir.
are lacking.
Just a minute. You know what? We're done.
Yeah, we are.
Yep. So on your lot, step out. Step out. You're done right now.
Thank you.
Okay. So on his complaint against you for fraud, I am finding in your favor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And on your counterclaim against him, since he is unable to prove otherwise, I am finding in your favor in the amount of, you say it's $1,454?
You know what? Even if after I reviewed it's more money, but I'll be happy with that. That's fine.
Well, you should
I'm
review
fine.
things once and
You're
do
the
them
boss.
right.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't add it, somebody else did, but I agree. and
Righty then.
you're
Well,
the boss.
everyone who works for you needs to be more careful.
It's only me.
$1,454. Verdict for the defendant on the balance that's owed on the car. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, this case worked out better both ways for the defendant, Mr. Mariani. The plaintiff obviously was expelled from the courtroom. So you're going to get a little over $1,400 now by court order?
Yeah, by court order. You know what? You try to make everybody happy, but in this case here, this gentleman was fabricating all kind of things that had nothing to do with us. All the facts played out. We showed the correct documents, and it worked out in our favor. We're doing this a long time. We try to do the right thing. The gentleman that filled out that he was dealing with is no longer with the
no longer with
organization.
you. You said that.
I'm doing this a long time. I try to do the right thing with everybody.
So you'll give him a clear title to the car now, right?
Once I get paid, no problem. You know what? I even offered it long ago, but he didn't want to, you see, and he was violent even in there.
yeah.
So it is what it is.
Good luck.
Thank you, Bill.
Tough character.
Have a great
day.
day.
Thank you very much. Okay, Harvey.
You know, when you buy a used car, especially from a private party, don't just automatically accept what that person says. You have all sorts of ways. Carfax, going to a mechanic. You have a lot of ways that you can find out what's really up.